The emotional tension coiled beneath the surface of Robin Brown's Flagstaff house was concealed by the peaceful serenity. Years of unspoken conflicts, unsaid tears, and the disintegrating remains of a once Grand Poly family had been absorbed into the walls. But everything was going to blow apart tonight. Hunched over on the couch's edge, Robin gazed at a pile of past-due invoices. Red indicated urgency, and the envelopes were now color-coded. The number of reds was excessive. Not actually, she hadn't told Cody yet. Could she? The man was already a pulled-pin grenade. They were 3 months behind on their home payments. It was deafening how silent TLC was about a new season. Additionally, she was losing money $1 at a time from the affluent lifestyle she had established with Cody's assurances and the network's attention. Aurora's pulse was racing as she cradled her phone to her chest upstairs. Hey, hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel TLC Flicks. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Her screen had just illuminated with a message. I'm eager to see you once more. It was ideal tonight. What your father thinks is irrelevant to me. Micah was his name. Honey, you Jr. Nice. Protective and respectful. Cody was everything she had hoped for in a man but had never been able to find. He had immediately been the light in her otherwise dark world after they had met at a university bookshop and become friends over theology arguments and old fantasy books. But she was certain that hell would erupt if Cody discovered. She was spared a long wait. The entrance door slammed so hard at 8:47 p.m. that it knocked a framed photo of Solomon off the wall. Cody. Startled, Robin scurried to conceal the money and called out. What? Where is she? Cody shouted, a fury of disbelief and treachery sweeping across his face. I caught sight of her. In that university cafe. Alongside him. He was a man unraveling in real time, with wild eyes, curled lips, and unkempt hair. Robin begged Cody to stop. You're going overboard. Her father is me, he yelled. She is skulking behind my back? With a child that I don't even know. How could a mother allow such to occur? Aurora froze, still upstairs. She trembled. Her legs were as hard as stone. She had finished hiding, though. Her voice was calm and low as she entered the stairway. She declared, I'm not sneaking around. My boyfriend is him. I am also no longer a tiny girl. Cody's eyes narrowed like daggers as he rolled around. Boyfriend? Without my approval? In my house, he exclaimed. Is he LDS at all? Is he trying to steal your money? What is the name of our TLC? Aurora yelled. He's not interested in any of that. He is pursuing me. And you never treat me as well as he does. With her hands up like a shield, Robin moved between them. Please, Cody. She is not acting improperly. You are not in charge of everything. You believe this to be control? Cody growled. This is defense. Something that this family gave up as soon as they stopped paying attention to me. His voice was suddenly cold and decisive as he turned back to Aurora. You must move out like an adult if you want to live like one. Prepare your belongings. Join him on live. However, if you are going to lie to me, you will not be residing in my home under my name. A startled silence fell. Then Robin snapped. Eyes wide with dread, she grasped for the back of a chair, her legs buckling slightly. Her voice was like glass breaking. You're dismissing her? She muttered. After all that I gave up for you? All I sacrificed? Would you also throw her out? She went too far, Cody whispered. I refuse to be treated disrespectfully in my own house. You have a daughter. Robin let out a scream. Our daughter is her. Aurora remained silent. Without saying anything, she vanished up the stairs and returned a few minutes later carrying a phone charger, a rucksack, and tears running down her face. Not a single suitcase. No preparation. Simply flee. Robin sobbed into her daughter's shoulder while holding her at the doorway. She mumbled into Aurora's hair. We're broke, baby. I'm not sure how much longer I can continue this. He's going downhill. I'm also afraid. In her palms, Aurora clasped her mother's face. Her eyes were no longer childlike. They were now clear. Be calm. Determined. Then go too, Mom, she said. Prior to him ruining you the same way he ruined the rest of this family. She left the room without turning around. Cody just stood there too. The jaw tightened. Simmering rage. But there's a glimmer of something else underneath it. Decrease. Aurora's truth, Kody's reckoning, and Robin's collapse in Robin's home. The following morning began with an oppressive silence that suffocates rather than calms. Aurora had vanished. The drawer was half open, the bed was made, and her room was oddly tidy, as though she had paused before leaving for good. Robin hadn't slept. With her head buried in her arms like a child, she sat crouched on a dining room chair with her arms folded on the table. Like the aftermath of a hurricane, the bills from the previous night were spread all around her in the form of red notices, last warnings, and shut-off threats. Dark circles had formed around her eyes from the smudging of her mascara. Kody had left at the crack of dawn. Since he had seen Aurora vanish into the night, he had remained silent. His shouting had been less frightening than his stillness. Now, Robin sat by herself in a place that was no longer her home, attempting to regain what little control she still possessed. But as her phone buzzed, the illusion of control was destroyed. A little Flagstaff cafe. Robin was late. Her huge sunglasses did little to conceal her mental wreckage, and her hair was pushed up in a hurry. Aurora and Micah were seated in a booth when she noticed them. Robin stepped forward and he stood. Early 20s, tall, trim. Courteous eyes. Hands that are tense. He didn't appear to be a user or a rebel, which was not what Robin had anticipated. He gave off the impression of being genuinely concerned. Mrs. Brown, he nodded respectfully. I appreciate you coming. Robin scanned his face as she sat carefully. Why now? She whispered. Why enter her life at a time when everything is failing? Micah did not recoil. Because she is worthy of feeling noticed and secure. Although I was not raised in a pluralistic household, I understand what it's like to feel unwelcome in your own home. Mrs. Brown, she didn't ask for your world. She has managed to survive it. Robin suppressed her tears. She looked at Aurora. I had no idea you were so serious. Aurora answered, I knew Dad would do what he did, so I kept it from you. But, Mom, I adore him. And he doesn't want a name or a TV tick. He has supported me during my late-night uncertainties and panic episodes. He pays attention. Do you recall what listening looks like? Robin slumped her shoulders. There was no more fighting in her. I simply don't want to lose you as well. I'm not leaving you, Aurora remarked. You simply no longer have control over me. Later that evening at the Brown house, Kody folded his arms and stood near the kitchen window. The house was cooler and empty when he returned. The absence of Robin had been seen. She didn't say anything as soon as she entered through the front door. Her body was quivering obviously as she put down her purse. Finally, Robin replied, You didn't just lose Aurora last night. I'm going to lose you too. Kody slowly turned. Pardon me, she declared. I can no longer do this. I told you a falsehood. I stood up for you in front of everyone. I pleaded with the network to continue airing our program. I texted Janelle and Mary to apologize for your actions. To save your pride, I hid our financial crisis. You are being overly dramatic, Kody yelled. Am I? Robin flung a stack of envelopes onto the counter after opening a drawer. This is how drama appears. Foreclosure is that. Power shutoff is that. You told me that your outstanding tax bill from 2 years ago was handled. Kody's face went white. Kody, we're broke. In order to keep food in this house, I have been selling jewelry on eBay. Last week, I had to ask Dayton for petrol money. Do you believe that Aurora's boyfriend is the reason she left? She departed because she could no longer stand to watch me deteriorate under your authority. Kody did not speak, but he looked down. To punish her for defying you, you tossed her out. However, the reality is that you left us long before she did. Janelle in her backyard on the same evening Janelle, Christine, and Mary were sitting miles away under a string of patio lights. The word had spread quickly. The dominoes had fallen after Aurora texted Brianna, who then alerted her siblings. Janelle's lips were tense as she sipped her tea. Another child has left, she remarked. The same tale. A distinct trigger. Disgusted, Mary folded her arms. I'm not shocked. He's not a dad. He wears a wedding ring and is a tyrant. Slowly, Christine shook her head. The saddest part, do you know? He may no longer love Robin, in my opinion. He simply doesn't want to acknowledge that he failed once more, in my opinion." They sat silently for a while. Then Janelle said, "We ought to get in touch with Aurora. Tell her that even though Cody isn't acting like it, we are still her family." Mary gave a nod. "She should be aware that we are observing her." Once the imposing head of a vast, if chaotic, multifamily enterprise, Cody Brown now stood inside a mostly empty house, his wives disillusioned, his children dispersed, and the woman he believed would never leave him on the verge of doing so. He had always been afraid of external revolt. It never occurred to him that his own daughter would do it. Cody now had to confront the one person he couldn't control, threaten, or ignore amid the quiet created by Aurora's absence. The reality. TLC cameras reappear, Robin speaks up, and Cody deals with his son's anger. Robin Brown, who was noticeably paler and thinner than normal, entered the TLC producer's office in downtown Flagstaff on a clear Monday morning. Off camera, she had asked for a private meeting. She discovered, however, that nothing was really private anymore when the door closed and she took a seat. She gripped a manila folder with shaking palms. She had lost the theatrical softness she formerly used to win over producers, and her voice was low and flat. "I must be honest with you," she continued, "and I want you to hear it all." The producers bent forward. Her next statement would have a profound impact on Cody Brown's life, as well as the destiny of the Sister Wives franchise. Robin's disclosure. Robin produced a stack of financial documents, handwritten messages, statements of loans, bills from credit cards. Like an offering of humiliation, she placed them softly on the table. "Simply put, we're broke," she stated. "And I don't mean broke on a tight budget. By default notifications, credit card maxes, and utilities being turned off, I mean broke." "Did Cody never tell you that?" A producer blinked in disbelief. "We didn't know. Months ago, Cody stopped making mortgage payments on our home. He should refinance," I pleaded. He declined. He claimed that to act poor was beneath him. "In the meantime, I've been pawning show gifts, selling my jewelry on Facebook Marketplace, and secretly pleading with my adult children for assistance." She inhaled deeply. "I had faith in him. For him, I sacrificed everything. For him, I ruined my relationships with the other wives. And now he's falling apart, punishing Aurora, cutting off the rest of us, and losing control completely." "And Aurora?" inquired the producer. "She's secure," Robin muttered. "Additionally, I won't stop her from going about her life. I am unable to. Because I will also fail if I continue to support him." Sitting in startled silence were the producers. They were aware of drama. This, however, was implosion. A startling public observation. Micah and Aurora Brown were spotted holding hands outside a small bookshop close to NAU 2 days later. In a matter of hours, a photo posted on a student gossip blog went popular in the Flagstaff community. Is this the true cause of Cody Brown's outburst? Aurora Brown was seen with Micah Sorensen of NAU, who is the son of well-known former Mormon podcaster Eli Sorensen. Social media took off. Once a rising star in the LDS faith, Eli Sorensen was now a prominent opponent of institutional patriarchy and polygamy, thus his name resonated. Micah, his kid, had grown up doubting everything that Cody stood for. Cody was furious at the realization. Later that evening, Cody spat at Robin. He's the son of a heretic. He obviously played tricks on her. All he wants to do is obliterate what remains of us. However, Robin didn't yell this time. She didn't beg. She only gazed at him, emptied and icy. "Cody, nobody had to ruin this. You accomplished it on your own." The unexpected guest. The door was knocked on that same evening. Cody frowned as he opened it, shirt undone, hair unkempt, only to have it suddenly solidify into something darker. Gabriel Brown was the one. The estranged son of Cody. The person he hadn't spoken to since the aftermath of the pandemic. The person whose sorrow for Garrison's passing had gone unanswered. "You," Cody remarked in a resentful tone. "What are you looking for?" Gabriel remained unflinching. Without waiting for an invitation, he entered. He continued, "I came to look you in the eye and tell you something no one else will. She left because of you." Cody blinked. "Who?" "Aurora," Gabriel angrily said. "She was devoted. She had faith in you. Until you made her feel inferior. Tossed her out. Additionally, You lost the last daughter, who continued to stand up for you. Cody laughed. You want to give me a lecture? No, Gabriel replied. I'm come to give you a warning. You no longer frighten us. Not the children. Not your mother. Not Christine. Not Mary. Not even Robin. It's been too long since we spoke. We see you now, though. And we're finished. Without further comment, he turned and left. And Cody, the man who previously controlled a national TV platform for women and 18 children, slumped down on the floor and buried his face in his hands. The king's kingdom was gone. Mary's interrogation. Mary asked Cody for a one-on-one later that week, something that hadn't occurred in months. Reluctantly, maybe expecting for pity, he agreed. However, she wasted no time in getting there. She said, I'm not here to see how you're doing. I'm here to face you. Cody's arms were folded. Really? Now what? Mary remarked. You've lost all the kids except the ones who are too afraid to talk. You've spent a lot of money. Your former devoted wife has become a shell of her former self because of you. And you believe we should help you? He yelled. I was acting in the family's best interests. No, Cody, she muttered. You were acting in your ego's best interest. He didn't respond. He was unable to. His jaw was tense and his eyes were shiny as he gazed at the ground. Mary then leaned closer. You ordered Aurora to go. Your daughter loved someone who gave her a sense of completeness, so you sent her away. The fact that she'd choose someone else over you was what you truly couldn't stand. Fatherhood isn't like that. That is possession. With a calm voice, she rose to her feet. Good luck preserving what remains of this family. You'll require it. Robin's house's walls no longer concealed the unraveling. It was seeping into the neighborhood, the camera crews, the journalists, and family group conversations. Robin felt nervous. Aurora had into the spotlight. Cody was on the verge of being irrelevant. A dynasty with multiple marriages has turned into a warning story. What about the reckoning? It was just getting started. Aurora talks, Robin reaches her breaking point, and Cody's legal nightmare starts. A week had passed since Aurora left Robin's house, and nothing had changed inside their walls. The air was stale. The furnishings remained unaltered. Even the recognizable aroma of lavender candles, which were formerly a representation of Robin's meticulous home organization, had diminished. The majority of Cody's time was spent pacing the back patio, grumbling to himself, avoiding calls, and talking to no one. He was no longer certain of the day. He was indifferent. From the kitchen window, Robin observed him as if she were observing a never-ending storm. A mug of lukewarm coffee was stirred impatiently by her fingers. Finally, something in her chest had broken, not out of anger or even sadness, but from the standpoint of clarity. The choice. Robin contacted Alice, her sister, that morning. The show, the popularity, and the decisions had caused tension in their relationship for years. Robin, however, needed to hear the truth. Robin paced the living room and whispered, He hasn't touched the mortgage. I'm the one who takes debt collecting calls. The network has received my apology. He is now accusing Aurora of being responsible for everything. Through the telephone came Alice's forceful but gentle voice. You've spent enough time defending him. Robin, you're drowning. He is not going to change. He won't. Robin shed a tear or two. But I have nothing if I go. No, Alice replied. You'll lose everything you have left if you stay. Aurora's voice becomes clear. People magazine released an exclusive interview with Aurora Brown on the same day. The headline said, Aurora Brown talks about getting out of Cody's control. I left my father's house to find myself. The article garnered considerable attention on social media and in tabloids. Aurora informed the interviewer that it was more than simply her boyfriend. It had to do with breathing. About residing in a home where love was subject to restrictions. When it was safer to keep quiet than to be honest. Mom attempted to keep me safe. However, she was also surviving. I cherish her. I always will. But if I ever wanted to be more than my father's reflection, I had to go. She didn't mince words. She described what Cody referred to as overreactions or panic episodes. She talked of Robin's isolation from the outside world, his unpredictable nature, and his concern with loyalty. Additionally, she verified what many had conjectured. We had no money. Mom was scared. Furthermore, I refused to allow him to use me to act as though our family was still flawless. The interview was tough, elegant, and unvarnished. Additionally, it was a huge blow to Kody's already shaky reputation. The internal emergency at TLC, the atmosphere in TLC's executive boardroom was heated. Their PR team was inundated with emails. Hashtags like #FreeAurora and #CancelSisterWives were all over fan pages. The future of the show was discussed by executives. One producer stated, "This isn't just ratings drama anymore. This is a complete breakdown of the family." Robin's emotional breakdown. Kody's demise financially. Our daughter is now accusing others of emotional abuse in the media. Another CEO went on to say, "We gave them 17 seasons. We don't require legal action." Then, suddenly, the unimaginable was on the table. Cancellation. The legal caution. Kody sat alone himself at the dining room table later that night, surrounded by stacks of unopened mail. Certified legal correspondence was written on one envelope. He pulled it open. He clenched his jaw. His hands trembled. It was an official cease and desist letter from a lawyer for Christine's son, Paydon Brown, who had been speaking out more on YouTube and TikTok about his upbringing, his mental health issues, and the harm Kody had caused. In interviews or episodes, Kody was urged to cease defaming, misrepresenting, or publicly threatening Paydon and other adult children. One sentence that struck like a blow to the throat marked the end of it. "Until this issue is resolved, my client is contemplating legal action for emotional distress and defamation." The table was slammed by Kody. To no one in particular, he screamed, "This family is turning on me like wolves. I put everything into it. I constructed this." However, nobody was paying attention. No Aurora. Not Robin. Not even the crew. Robin's silent retreat. Robin packed a backpack 2 days later. She kept it from Kody. There was no note left by her. She just grabbed her keys, said Ariella and Solomon bye with a kiss, and made the 3-hour drive to Utah to stay with Alice. No cameras. Don't cry. Just a woman taking back her honor. At last, she understood what Aurora already knew. The cost of Kody Brown's love was high. Additionally, it was no longer worth the money. What started out as a quarrel over a partner had grown into something much more, a long-suppressed uprising of voices, a reckoning that had been planned for years. Aurora had said something. Robin had taken a step back. Kody now faced a future characterized by quiet, legal action, and a family that finally said enough, rather than by wives and loyalty. Kody's last desperate gamble, the women's ascent, and the footage similar to the pressure currently smothering what was left of Kody Brown's collapsing world. The Flagstaff June heat was merciless, dry, searing, and unrelenting. He no longer headed multiple households. On TLC's longest-running family experiment, he was no longer the wise man. He was by himself. Bills, media attention, and the specters of a family that had finally learned to say no were all about them. However, not all of them had disappeared into the quiet. Some were getting ready to return to power, not to him. The strategic return of Janelle and Christine Brown and Janelle Brown sat across from a group of TLC executives in a Salt Lake City studio office. Christine, calm and beautiful, pushed a bundle of proposals across the table. She spoke firmly. "We don't want to hear more of his tale. We would want to share ours." Janelle gave a nod. After decades of manipulating emotions, it's time to demonstrate what healing looks like. It was a bold packet. The experiences of the ex-wives and adult children were the only focus of a new series that was tentatively named Sister Wives Reclaimed. No Kody. No filtered story. Just the unvarnished truth, responsibility, and reconstruction. It left the producers speechless. Will Robin participate in this? Christine gave a headshake. She is free to express her truth if she so chooses. However, she is no longer the focus of this. And it has nothing to do with him. They had finished requesting permission. The story was being written by them now. Robin's on-camera accountability. Robin had finally consented to her first filmed interview in months while she was back in Utah. She was seated in a simple chair, not wearing any jewelry. No hairstyle. No screenplay. She appeared worn out. But don't be scared. "I thought I was saving my kids when I met Kody," she remarked. "I believed he would keep us safe. provide stability for us. However, I now see that I was only the next stage of his control. I relinquished my autonomy. In order to gain his acceptance, I alienated other women. She let a tear fall down her cheek. I told a falsehood. A great deal. To me. To the other wives. To the viewers. Despite situations that broke me, I managed to grin. I supported decisions that harmed my children. Aurora in particular. The producer said softly, "Will you return?" Robin inhaled deeply. "No. I'm finished." This is the end of the narrative as it was. Kody's last move, Kody Brown, was exposed and cornered when he made a decision that took everyone by surprise. He consented to speak in a live family values forum hosted by a fringe religious organization in Flagstaff. It would allow him to reclaim the narrative, he believed. Contrary to producer instructions, TLC cameras followed. The video was uncut and unprocessed. Wearing boots and a denim shirt, Kody carried a wireless microphone as he took the stage. "Lies have taken over my family," he said, "by resentful ex-wives and disobedient children. What I attempted to construct is invisible to them." There was silence among the spectators. The demonstrators then arrived. Signs were raised by dozens of admirers and former supporters. "Garrison's justice. We think Aurora is real." The wives were the support system. The chant then began. Kody told lies. Women wept. He stopped. His twitching jaw and his deflated stance were captured on camera. Kody Brown failed to make a comeback for the first time in history. Private security let him out the back door after he left the stage. The video from years past, observing all of this from her residence in Parowan, Utah, Mary quietly came to her own conclusion. 2017 Lost Tapes was written on an old TLC hard drive that she took out. A never-before-seen video showed Kody berating teenage Gabriel for crying during a group prayer. Kody making fun of Christine's wish to seek therapy. Robin begged him to allow Aurora to attend a sleepover, but he responded with callous indifference. It was saved by her. She never understood why. So far, if he sues, this goes public, she wrote in a memo she sent to TLC's legal staff. Kody no longer had the power. The ex-wives had emerged from the shadows. They were fighters. Characters were no longer the adult children. They had survived. Once the most devoted, Robin had eventually turned to face the flames and left. Kody Brown too? He was on the verge of national shame, not because he had lost a family, but rather because he had not shown them love when it mattered most. The performance continued. However, the narrative had evolved. Forever. Robin's legal position, Mary's journal, and Kody's last confrontation, Flagstaff's wins, had shifted. There was a buzz of truth in the air that had previously been thick with denial and stillness. The Brown family was being rewritten, not just dismantled. Mary stood in the middle of the rewriting. She was originally portrayed as the resentful first wife, the isolated, lonely one. Somebody lingered too long. Mary, however, had had enough of silence. A public reckoning of Mary's journal reading. TLC scheduled a private taping in Utah a month after Aurora's interview, which was an extremely charged part that would never have been shown in previous seasons. However, things were different this time. The film crew reached Mary's Parowan B&B. It was a deep pink sky. The atmosphere is solemn. She had a little leather-bound journal in her lap as she sat in front of the fireplace. The cover was damaged at the spine. The pages were bent, and it was worn. She opened it with a calm voice. October of 2014. Kody warned me that I was harming the family's reputation if I didn't fix my attitude. He didn't attend the anniversary dinner I had planned, so I had sobbed softly the night before. He claimed that expecting attention just because I was first was manipulative. That evening, I jotted down, "I don't believe he still loves me. He simply doesn't want to acknowledge that he never did, in my opinion." Even if her voice wavered, she continued. August 2017. Robin was in the kitchen sobbing. When she implored him not to raise his voice in front of Aurora, Kody screamed at her to stop acting like a victim. Aurora went to hide beneath the staircase, and I saw it. I began taping stuff in private at that point. She hesitated, gazed directly at the camera. We weren't spouses. We served as his reputation's armor. No more. There was silence in the room. There were tears in the eyes of even the camera operator. Robin's legal action. Robin sat in a quiet office across from a female lawyer in Utah. A framed picture of a mountain range was on the wall, and a fan hummed softly overhead, creating a sterile feeling. "I want to keep my money apart from his," Robin stated simply. "Lawfully. Indefinitely." The lawyer gave a nod. "Are you considering a divorce?" Robin paused. Aurora had agreed to a face-to-face meeting. He had been informed, not for reconciliation but for finality. Calm and cool, she arrived 10 minutes late. Micah, her boyfriend, was waiting in the vehicle. Cody was waiting in the room, his shoulders slumped and the fire still burning behind his eyes when she entered. "You achieved your goal," he remarked icily. "The publicity, the sympathy." Aurora remained unflinching. She remarked, "I didn't ask for any of this. All I wanted was a father who didn't have complete control over everything he professed to love." A harsh laugh escaped his lips. "You believe I have you under control? You're ungrateful. I believe," she broke off, "that you didn't love us unless we worshipped you. And you stopped considering me your daughter when I stopped doing that." Her voice remained firm even as her eyes filled with tears. "I fell in love, therefore you kicked me out. Mom had to beg for your crumbs because of you. You turned my life into a TLC show. I'm done acting like you're not a Bible-wielding bully." Cody's lips quirked. His face turned red. However, he was unable to reply. He simply stood, walked away. The door was slammed, and once more abandoned his daughter. Robin's silent triumph. When Robin got back to Utah, her lawyer called. "It's finished," the woman declared. "All debts have been untangled. Every asset was taken from the common claim. You are now safe. Aurora is also clean." Robin took a seat carefully on her hotel bed's edge. For what seemed like the first time in years, she let out a breath. It wasn't happiness. There was no peace. However, it was liberty. The landscape was permanently altered, yet the dust was still settling. Mary had been honest. Robin had assumed legal independence. Aurora had faced the man who used to be in charge of her universe. Cody Brown too? Now he had no platform as a man. No family. People no longer believed in a version of the truth. Sister Wives was a thing of the past. The time of truth has arrived. Let us know in your comments. And stay tuned by subscribing our channel to get more updates like this. Thanks everyone.